We've been talking about this for so long, we've been waiting for so long, and it's finally here. All those hypes that we've seen, all those assumptions that maybe we're going to see the Kusama Parachain auctions next month or this week or whatever, you know, everything is history now because now it's confirmed. As we can see here on Karura's Twitter page, the Karura crowd loan is just days away and it's time to unstake your crowd loan KSM. If you're on Polkadot.js or Polka Wallet, the team has made a simple guide along with video tutorials for how to complete the process. Of course, you need to unstake your KSM because you need to take part in those parachain auctions, or the crowd loan as they call it. And I will be doing a tutorial on how you can actually do that when we get more information on the step-by-step guide, of course. But so far, this is just a wiki on how to actually unstake. So we're going to need to wait for the information on how to actually take part. So again, there is a registration page. If you want to take part, you can register for that. Now, I have not registered yet. But I think I am going to register. I just have to see how it is because, to be honest, I don't want to take part in the Karura one. I really want to take part in the Akala one, so it's more for Polkadot. But I'm going to have to see how, because I think I'm going to need to register and maybe bid with a small amount just to be able to do the tutorial on how you can actually take part in these parachain auctions using Polkadot.js. Again, you will be able to do this using various exchanges that are supporting it. I believe Binance will be one of them too. So of course, because of that, Binance will likely list some of these tokens that are going to take part in these crowd sales, right? On Kusama, of course. So yeah, I'm super hyped about that, and we're gonna finally see the Polkadot ecosystem come into fruition, go into the spotlight once again, because everyone's talking about it now, everyone's hyped. And I think that what they're trying to hint at here by saying it's just a few days away, what they're really trying to say is that during the Polkadot Decoded event, which is going to be on the 19th of May, which is basically next Wednesday, that's when they're actually going to announce the go live date for the Kusama Parachain auctions, in my opinion. I think it makes the most sense. I've actually suspected they may announce that around Polkadot Decoded for quite some time now, but I wasn't really sure, so I didn't really want to speculate on that. I did think it's going to be earlier, right? But I had that feeling that it's going to happen during this event because this event has been hyped for so long, right? Everyone's talking about that. So within the Polkadot ecosystem, of course, people outside of the ecosystem didn't even know about this event. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll keep an eye out on it. As soon as I get information, I'm going to share it with you as always on this channel. So please make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to not miss that information. But in today's video, I actually want to remind you about ChainX because I haven't spoken about them for quite some time. And now the CEO has finally come out to discuss in an AMA, to discuss a number of things, including the coming app, which is part of the ChainX app that they're going to integrate. And we're going to talk about that as well in the AMA, and he's not only going to talk about the coming up but also the Kusama Parachain auctions as well, and SherpaX, which is one of these parachains. Well, an upcoming parachain is going to start as a parathread, but if it bonds successfully as a parachain, it will become a parachain to Kusama, and we're all going to get that airdrop almost on a 1-to-1 ratio, assuming that we're going to bond before the halving, right? If it's going to be after the halving, it's going to be 0.9 some, so almost 1-to-1 ratio with your PCX holding. If you hold your PCX on MXC exchange, yes, you will get the airdrop. If you hold it on KuCoin, I don't know if you're going to get the airdrop because they have not announced that publicly, right? So maybe they're not supporting the airdrop, but the best place to hold them is in your wallet, the dapps.chainx.org wallet, which I've already done a tutorial of. Do check that out if you're watching this on YouTube. On the top right hand corner of the screen, that tutorial should help you understand how to set up a wallet and then basically to just send your PCX from the exchange over to the wallet. But in today's video, like I said, I do want to focus on this AMA. I have not actually read this AMA until now. I've just seen the announcement, so I'm basically going to read it in this video, so hopefully you'll be interested to learn more as well, and I'll be learning more too. So yeah, we can see here PCX is trading at 1050 on average. It's starting to pick up now thanks to Kusama because there is hype, right? People that know that this airdrop is coming are buying back. I think people had lost hope because they've been waiting for so long holding PCX. People that didn't really want to hold PCX because they believe in ChainX but more for the airdrop, whereas now because they know that if SherpaX does bond successfully, they're going to miss out on their airdrop, right? Nobody wants to miss out on the airdrop because it's free tokens at the end of the day. Like, why not take those free tokens, especially at such a low price? The price has been low, right? We've proven that $8 is good support for ChainX. We've touched it multiple times. We have not broken below it. We've always gone back up. So yes, being at $10.50 here, just a little bit above that support area is not bad, right? Considering we touched $18 twice. So there's plenty of room to the upside for PCX. But let's talk about this AMA, because this is what I want to talk about in today's video. So this was actually held today at 11 a.m. UTC here. I'm not going to be reading the beginning of it here, but it's with Guangao Go, who is the CEO of PolkaX, and PolkaX is the team behind ChainX, one of the development teams for ChainX. And this AMA was held by Alex, who's the overseas ambassador for ChainX and also an admin of their Telegram group. He's a very helpful guy. So he's actually had to translate this from Chinese because Guangao doesn't speak English, right? So he's just reiterating it here, saying that he's going to be translating Guangao's answers from Chinese to English. So let's find out what do they have to say. Now, without further ado, Guangao, are you ready for the first question? And he says, yes. Well, here it comes. Now, how confident are you about obtaining a parachain slot? If you had to give a percentage from 0 to 100% sure, and why are you confident? Is it because you have a lot of DOT and KSM personally, or we will only use the crowd loan to win the auction? And I really like these kind of questions. You know, they're strong questions. I like to ask these kind of questions myself when I do AMAs or interviews on my channel, as you probably know if you've been watching it. So I really like these kind of questions because we're going straight into the butter here, trying to get an answer from them, right? So what is he saying? We're confident. Gavin Wood has said that he supports nearly 30 parachains. ChainX is the earliest ecological project based on substrate, and it's true, right? And was launched into the mainnet even before the launch of Polkadot or Kusama, right? So that's something to keep in mind here. This is the first substrate based project, okay? Now ChainX, which has been online for 2 years, proves the development strength of our team, but we have not made a good effort in the direction of the operation, like community management and marketing. So here they're agreeing, or they're admitting that they've been doing bad at marketing, right? So let's see if they're going to fix this problem, because this was one of my concerns too, and I'm sure one of yours if you've been following ChainX. So that's because of our regulatory issues in China, but now it's okay. ChainX is halved soon, and we no longer accept dividends. This means that we're fully legal and compliant in China. So as you can see, this was one of the reasons why they were not really marketing themselves and not really going to these events like Polkadot Decoded too. It's because of the regulatory issues in China. They were getting dividends from the 50 PCX that were being generated per each block, right? They were holders too, right? They were holding some PCX obviously from early on, and they were getting those dividends, and it wasn't really allowed to get those dividends. But of course they had the funding. Now they've got plenty of funding. So with the halving, they're going to be compliant. So we'll have to see if they're going to take more time to market themselves. So now let's continue on here. We can take the time to start operating ChainX vigorously. Of course, we're still under pressure to run for the first slot, as Akala, Plasm are excellent. So he knows that, right? But it's okay. We're all good friends, and we're also very good. Now Alex is asking, I'm assuming you mean that you are good friends with Akala and Plasm, right? And he's saying for 30 outstanding projects, we think we have been ranked in the top 3, which is undisputed. Of course, our community has not been up and running. It was caused by my compliance issues in China. I'm here to apologize to the community. Wow, so this is big. This is important because he's feeling the pressure from the community here. So he knows that he needs to step up. So that's great. It's nice to see that he's stepping up. Maybe he got the feedback from Alex. I'm assuming that's where he got the feedback from, and maybe even Alex himself was frustrated with the lack of marketing. So now we're finally seeing this. So let's continue on here. Now I have made sure our coming up and our mini X chain are legal and compliant in China, and came back to our community. We personally hold a lot of DOT and KSM individuals, not PolkaX, but we will use the crowd loan for its functionality. So here what they're trying to say is that they've bought DOT and KSM, and it doesn't belong to the PolkaX team as a whole. It's not like a funding type of holding, right? It's in an individual holding. So they're going to use that for the crowd loan for its functionality, because the project is a community one. They hope that more people can participate, of course, in return. Now, he took out a lot of KSX's excitation. I'm not sure what he's trying to say here, but again, it is translated, right? So maybe from out of excitement, I think he was trying to say. And that's me finished with answering the first question. And Alex is saying, thank you very much, Congo, for all your hard work. We might not have seen a lot from you guys, but we've secretly been admiring your hard work. So he says, thanks. Now, being a little closer to you personally, I know you're always very busy with making sure everything works smoothly. In regards to earlier message, do I understand that you mean that you are good friends with Akala and Plasm? So yes, this is the kind of question that I like, because it's going straight there. It's like not trying to go around the bush. It's going straight to the point. Right now, yes, Akala and Plasm, I have invested in them too, because I'm also very optimistic about their project. So he's probably saying that he invested in the private sale for Akala. He's probably saying that. This is what I'm assuming, because you couldn't have invested otherwise, right? Apart from this other one that we've had now recently. Yeah, I mean, you need to wait for the crowd sale, right? So yeah, I think it might have been at the private sale. Now, of course, creating the win-win cooperation is the road to development. Like the Ethereum community, we can build excellent ecological projects in the form of building blocks, mass outbreak, expansion of interoperability. This is the future of Polkadot ecology. Just like a brave lion can beat a pack of wolves. And Alex is saying, well, there's not one that is the best, but together we are stronger. So Polkadot and the Polkadot Parachains are the wolf pack. I like your analogy there. And Guango says, you can continue. My English is not good, which greatly affected the community communication. And Alex says, haha, sorry, I was quickly reading back to see if I missed some of those translations. When coming is online, says Guanggu, I can learn English hard. And I think he means very good, right? My Chinese can be expressed very quickly. And Alex says, good, work hard and you'll master English within no time. Guanggu, my English did affect the promotion of our community, but fortunately, there's Alex and Kristen's persistent promotion. We can move to the next question. Yes, sir. I've paraphrased this question from the community as there are multiple versions. Some people might want to sell some of their PCX rewards to buy KSM and support SherpaX in the auctions. What are your thoughts on this, Guanggu? And Guanggu says, personally, will not sell PCX to support the crowd loan. Our position on ChainX is quite high. We cherish every PCX in our hands, even more than Bitcoin. Finally, we implemented a ChainX project in China that does not touch Chinese laws and regulations. This project took us 3 years to develop. If the people in the community want to trade PCX to KSM for KSX, I don't want to make too many suggestions. It's their freedom to choose, of course, right? It's their right to choose. Now, we're only responsible for maintaining ChainX and the ChainX ecology. One of our ChainX Parachains, Mini-X chain, is an open consortium chain that is legal and compliant in China. We can utilize Mini-X chain for Chinese government agencies and large commercial organizations to expand the ecology. So that's interesting. This is something I didn't know about, and it's something I'm learning. And again, this is the first time I'm reading this AMA together with you. Now, if this is your first time too, maybe you've already read it, and in that case, then you're probably not watching this, right? But if you have not read this, then you're probably watching this with me. Now, Coming is the #1 project within the ChainX ecosystem. We're positioning it as the WeChat of the next era. Coming has the potential to bring a huge amount of users to the community. Now, Mini-X is for business, Coming is for the community. So I'm actually really excited about this, because if they're gonna be meeting the regulation or the regulatory requirements in China, and they're gonna bring users, Chinese users, to invest in ChainX or in PCX, imagine the hype. I mean, China is a huge country, right? So if people get hyped about ChainX being like the Polkadot of China, so to speak, right? Then just imagine the hype and the growth of ChainX as a whole, as in the community, right? Just the Chinese community and also the global community, which is on Telegram. So just imagine that, right? This is just me getting hyped up now, of course, but it is a possibility, and that's why I've been believing in this project for quite some time. And like I was saying, the only downside was the marketing. So if they're going to work on that, I'm happy, right? I have nothing to complain about. Now, Coming will be launched soon with the Coming ID as an NFT, as your very own DID, well, digital identity. Now, for the most active community users and outstanding contributors, they will be given them the ability to reserve a 6-digit Coming ID as encouragement and as a thank you. Normal Coming IDs are 7 to 12 digits. Now, Alex says, thank you, Guanga. I'm assuming we'll be hearing more about the Coming test soon then. And Guanga says, you're very welcome. And so Alex says, okay, so you mentioned that after the halving, the team no longer receives PCX. The community had a question about that though. After the halving, when PolkadotX no longer receives the token, what is the incentive for the team to continue the development of the project over the coming years? This was a bang-on question right here. I love these questions, like I said. Very, very strong questions. Well done, the community. So Guangao says, these questions like asking Bitmain 8 years ago, how do you continue to survive? The market value of Bitcoin at the time may not be much different from the current market value of ChainX, but Bitmain is still very successful, maintaining the security and hash rate growth of Bitcoin. Now, of course, Bitmain is relatively successful, but the team had a problem that made it less successful. But we as ChainX, the Polkadot team, is different. We stand united. We believe that as long as we operate ChainX well, we can get a lot of returns and growth. The surrounding area ecology of ChainX is enough for us to make a profit. For example, Spider Network, we've received tens of millions of technological innovation funding from the Chinese government. Editor's note, Chinese yuan. Although the Chinese government is not as open as the United States now, it has not yet formulated the legal and regulatory issues for China to issue tokens. But it's okay. As long as China comes up with the relevant laws and regulations, we're definitely the most legal and compliant in China, because the PCX we issued is purely community issued. There's no financing and it will not touch any Chinese laws. Now, editor's note is no pre-sale, no pre-mine, no ICO, and no nothing. So we've seen the innovations around ChainX in China, and we hope that we can use these technologies to bring China out into the world. So now is the best time for us to promote ChainX and operate ChainX surroundings. There's no better time than now. I can't control my excitement anymore. My main company in China is Liangwang Technology, at the site of Alibaba. We're the blockchain innovation star company of the future science and technology city. We've received over 10 million government subsidies and they've gathered 40 full-time outstanding members here. So the company has done a lot of technical output for relevant units of the Chinese government and well-known Chinese enterprises. Now, the above words are written by me before. I copy-pasted them, by the way. And below, I also accept a paragraph of what I said. Oh, more interesting, our Open Alliance chain MiniX chain is also being promoted to these partners. As you may know, MiniX chain is a parallel chain of ChainX. Oh, interesting. Okay, so now they're explaining it. This series of things that I have done can be introduced how important and meaningful to ChainX, inspiring the team to do things in that we revolve around the entire ChainX ecosystem, just like Bitcoin does not have any institution to distribute dividends, then how Bitcoin iterations and development are completed. The same goes for us. We are going to be ecological. We are going to be the ecological periphery of ChainX, and the periphery will be up and the periphery will be profitable, such as being a node and an application. The Expol node we are currently running, the MiniX chain that are making, and the coming up that are making all around ChainX and enriching ChainX. Of course, it's still the early days. We still need ChainX to give us chain outlets a little bit in return, but the basic development and operation expenses. Now, they require that the monthly subsidy to chain network technology does not exceed $100,000 from ChainX's parliamentary expenditure, and this fund is a small amount for the ChainX Council, and it can only support a development team of about 20 people. For the rest of the development costs, they'll use the parent company, Chain Network Technology, to raise funds and sponsors, such as the government's funding to provide technical services, and even MiniX and coming up in the ChainX ecosystem, so they will profit. And yeah, Alex saying, haha, shameless plug for MiniX, I love it. And Guangao says, yeah, our MiniX chain testnet has been running as the background of coming up. Next month, our MiniX chain incoming will be available to all ChainX community members at the same time. So that's next month. So that's in June that we're going to see this app finally come to fruition. Now, so we're moving the community to coming then. Okay, maybe not yet. Guangao says, as you can see, what we have been working hard and doing is so good. I'm a little self-obsessed, but we have this confidence, and yes, starting next month, we will start migrating to Coming. Coming ID will be a particularly interesting NFT and the dongle release. Going back to the previous question, we have done so much. We're very confident that we can bring prosperity to the ChainX ecosystem and achieve a large-scale profitability for the team in the future. Secondly, the technology and community services and investment in other partners can also get considerable returns, but they will invest these returns and increase investment in their development because they believe that the age of Web3 is here. So we must work hard to grasp opportunity of this era. The ChainX community began from 0 to 1. With this one, we can grow from 1 to infinity based on the excellent people that have joined the community. We're responsible for working hard to develop and are responsible for formulating strategies. The community can give us encouragement and criticism. We want to hear the voice of the community. Our team is all in on the ChainX ecosystem. I'm just 30 years old now. My wife and I have a boy and a girl. I have given them enough protection for their basic life. Next, I want to realize my big dream. Starting tonight, I am back. I want to start working together with the global community partners and users excitedly to create a Web3 future. For my remaining 30 years, I will fill the first 5 digits of our coming ID. The first 5 digits are for our company colleagues. That is my goal, is to be a multinational company with hundreds of employees fighting for the Web3 world for the next 30 years. Of course, for all of this, we have to rely on our ChainX community because the ChainX communities are one. Without this one, all our efforts are zero. Wow, these are like strong words. I think he wrote these like not that he wrote, like I think he thought of these to, it's like it has a psychological impact, you know, one of these things that hit you is like boom, you know, like how can I say, like he's trying to get the community close and to get the community to believe in him and in his dream and to join that dream, right? So that's like the talk of a leader, you know, like of a visionary. So I really like that. So yeah, and as you can see, Alex is doing the same, right? I'm getting sentimental and I wish there was a happy smiley with a happy tear, right? So Guangao says, so excited, Alex. Can you ask the next question, please? If you don't interrupt me, I can't stop speaking. And he's saying, I'm having trouble keeping up with you. Okay, the next question should be an easy one. After the halving, what will happen to the 20% block rewards that are now free? Where do they go instead? Okay, so this is an interesting one. I really like this AMA. So Guangao is saying 20% are given to staking incentives. After the halving, the 20% block rewards will no longer be distributed to the development team and has entered everyone and will be entered, he's probably saying, into everyone's staking and no dividends. So halving for users who hold PCX mortgage mining, and there will be no halving of income because now everyone's mortgage dividend ratio is 1 to 20%, which is the PolkadotX development dividend, which was about 20%, parliamentary fund, XBTC mining incentive about 60%, is for staking dividends. After the halving, about 80% can be for development dividends. Probably means that 20% of the PolkadotX dividends began to flow into the later staking incentives. So every PCX we hold is equivalent to a BTC mining machine. It is just our mining machine, which has more benefits than the Bitcoin mining machine. It's more environmentally friendly. Moreover, our mining machine is more valuable than the BTC mining machine. So they're just reiterating here that basically it's eco-friendly, it's proof of stake, right? Now there will be delegated proof of stake. There will be no excessive mechanical loss due to time, right? So Alex is saying, thank you for keeping it shorter this time, Guangao, but that's good. So basically the leftover 20% now gets added to the other mining distribution pieces. I'll have to dig into the white paper again to find the full formula later, and I'll try to make a solid explanation later to everyone. So I think what he's trying to say here, like what Guangao is trying to say, is that even though we're going to have this halving event, which right now I think we're getting like 38% return on investment or APY per year. So we used to be 42%, but because there are more validators, it's kind of dropped to 38 now. So assuming that we're going to get this 19% after the halving, is no longer going to be 19, but it's going to have that extra leftover added to it. So it's going to bring it back up, even though it will be halving, right? So that's good because then we're going to have 2 more years to take advantage of these great rewards for ChainX, and that's good, right? Good for staking, especially because you need to wait those 14 days, which is quite painful. I sure wish it would have been 7 days where that proposal would have been approved. But anyway, he says, okay, the next question before you get excited again. I think we briefly touched on this before as well. As far as we know, ChainX favors the natural growth of investors. The tokenomics also point in this direction. Are you satisfied with the growth so far? Is the market share you have captured at the moment meeting your expectations? And Guangao says, yes, I'm very satisfied with ChainX's token growth and market capitalization growth model. Let's not look at the change in the unit price of PCX. We need to look at the change in the total market value of PCX, because ChainX's economy economic distribution model is as beautiful as Bitcoin, which can be said to be the POS version of the Bitcoin token philosophy, right? So I really want to thank our product managers and designers that they've designed a growth curve with the market value of ChainX from 0 to 100 million US dollars in the past 2 years. This growth curve is healthy. ChainX was dug out from 0 and its market value has slowly risen from 0 to the current $100 million. Although the current market value is far below our expectations, this market value growth rate is relatively healthy, and the token distributed to everyone are sufficiently decentralized. Of course, the tokens in our hands, including sometimes we also go to obtain the tokens from the secondary market. That is because we believe that the future of ChainX is great, even if it is not comparable to Bitcoin. But what we are doing is rich in ecology, and is all they're all very remarkable things. For example, ChainX's Parachain Mini-X, which they want to occupy China's open consortium chain market, which is the same track as Alibaba's Ant blockchain, for example. In our coming, we are working on the next version of WeChat, and we want to reach the number of WeChat users. Mini-X for enterprises, coming is for individual users, but this is a market with a market value of tens of trillions. So he doesn't believe it. Their efforts will not get any return. So okay, so I think he's trying to say here, I don't believe that our efforts will not get any return. So they're full of hope and expectation for the future of ChainX. Okay, so some of the long messages above I had already prepared, but now that I'm here in the community, I can add more at any time, insert what I want to say. I've been on Telegram for more than a year, but I joined ChainX for the first time today. It's very exciting to see this group is almost 30,000 members. Thanks again to everyone in the community for their efforts. The community is huge. So now that I'm full of confidence in the upcoming 30 years, I will organize society to do a glorious and meaningful thing. And here my long lyricism is about to begin again, Alex. So let's have the next question before I get excited again. Otherwise, ... Wait, hold on. You've never been in this group before? You slacker. Well, you're here now, and everyone knows you're here, so you will receive a lot more attention going forward. So Guanga was saying, no, I have been developing our products and technology before. Our coming app has been developed for 6 months. A lot of the development we did was not synchronized with the community in time. I basically didn't join the community earlier because, as I mentioned before, the Chinese laws and regulations are a problem on one side. Secondly, because I'm really doing products and technology. But now that the coming app has been launched, I hope everyone in our team and the community can communicate with each other. Now the above regulatory issues no longer exist, and our product coming app has also come out. I started to take part of my time to face the community because I found that the community is especially important for doing things now. It used to be Trump's power, now it's Musk's power. We can see the power of the community. And Alex says, will PCX be participating in the Polkadot crowd loans? Will PCX borrow DOT for any reason? So that's another good question, huh? He's saying we'll participate in the crowd loans. ChainX is based on Substrate. Substrate was written by Gavin, the founder of Polkadot. As a thank you to him, we also have the responsibility to promote and enrich the Polkadot ecosystem. Of course, because I don't speak English, I can't communicate with Gavin directly, and I haven't had better communication with Parity Tech. Secondly, ChainX has built Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Doge, USDT, Bitcoin Cash, and other cross-chain transfer bridges. So that's important, right? We know about the Binance Smart Chain one because they've announced that recently in one of their updates for XBTC 2.0. So then they can bring these valuable assets to DOT and enrich the ecology of DOT. We already know that, right? But we're starting now. We're going to start global operations. We recruited a lot of excellent English employees, and we started to work with Parity Tech and other institutions as well as our community. We will have adequate communication and exchange. Before, we only focused on development, not expression. Now we are starting to strengthen our shortcomings, business and operations. Now Alex is saying, given the separation between the Chinese community and the Western community, is there a way for us to share our questions and concerns more regularly with PolkaX, for example, once a week, where we, the overseas community, have a more personal connection with the PolkaX team? We hope to get a better insight into the development within the project and create a sense of accountability to the investing community. And Guango says this question, which my previous answer involved, so basically saying that which is previously answered, he'll post another piece of his answer which is better than earlier, I think he's trying to say here. So of course, this is a good suggestion. We've answered the previous question. Because of the continuous tiers of dividends, we may have compliance issues in China. Now there is no dividends. We don't have any worries. We can do it every month, even organize the user meeting every week. They can even do a video conference, and the second and most important thing is that they'll push the coming up, ChainX's largest application, to the community. In the future, the community construction can communicate the applications that belong to the community. Coming is enough to protect everyone's privacy. At the same time, it will support Bitcoin.dot, PCX, and other red envelopes, and it can also allow us to meet online, just like with Zoom. So Alex is then asking, Guangao, I think the question meant to aim more at how can the community best communicate with the team, like when they have suggestions or improvements or simply bugs on the website. So Guangao is saying, okay, well, you can bring it to our development warehouse, GitHub. We currently have at least 3 GitHub repositories. Issues and advice can be provided there in the issues section. Any related question can be submitted to its corresponding place. You can also communicate with us through WeChat and Telegram. Alex, Guangao, would it be okay if I, together with the community, made a list of questions and concerns every week and send them to you, the team? And he says, yes, of course. We most hope that everyone can use the coming up, a communication tool belonging to our community, to communicate. Thank you community. Thank you, Alex, for your feedback. We'll do our best. So yeah, so basically that's what he's trying to hint at. He's trying to hint that we should download the coming up and then communicate any kind of concerns through that coming up, but also on Telegram too. So I'm sure Alex is going to be in charge of that in some way, right? Now, Alex is saying, does the PolkadotX team have a marketing strategy for English-speaking markets? This community has discussed the possibility of submitting proposals to use treasury funds for the payment of exchange listing fees and marketing efforts. Do you think these things would be a good use of treasury funds? If not, what do you think would be a better use of the treasury funds? So again, this is important because we know that we need these exchange listings, right? We need Binance. Even though you may argue, no, we don't need Binance, we need them because Binance is a powerful exchange. If PCX lists there, then it will be like at its peak in a way, because with any kind of update, any kind of development update, any kind of milestone hit, we're going to be in the spotlight immediately because we're already on Binance, we're trading on there, right? So it's gonna push up the price no matter how you look at it. It's gonna help the community as a whole, right? It's gonna entrust them more. As long as there's development going, being on a larger exchange does help, right? So yeah, I'm fully in support of that, and of course marketing too, which does help, right? And now, so Wango is saying, yes, we are now focusing on recruiting people related to English-speaking markets. So we'll build our English community, including myself. I gradually practice my English so that I can communicate with everyone. Of course, we also have very good community members here, such as Alex. We encourage community members to actively participate in the construction of ChainX. Of course, we also encourage council members to vote on the decision of the council fund and support the English-speaking markets operators. And I'd like to add, you should all start voting for your counselors too. Alex says, I think I can speak for the entire community and say thank you for hiring new people and getting the marketing machine pumped up. Next question, is ChainX guaranteed to become Polkadot's secondary relay chain, or will it have to compete with other projects for the right to fill that role? And that's a really good question. Now, Guango says it is guaranteed to be completed. This degree of completion is promoted by the ChainX development team. From the continuous development and construction of the ChainX community for 2 years, I believe that most users in the community can believe that our strength can complete this second level of development of the relay chain. Editor's note, I don't think there's an official role within the Polkadot ecosystem. It's more of a name for what ChainX will become. In fact, Gavin is doing cross-chain related work for Substrate. We also connected to this research a long time ago. For example, that MMR algorithm. I'll post a link here for everyone, the Merkle Mountain Range. Okay, so this is something I'll need to look at, and I'll have to check that out after the AMA, says Alex. Now, this Guango says this is a cross-chain related super light node algorithm. Our secondary chain cross-chain can be used for more, because think of the limited time here. I'm not looking for the other ones, right? So, but the approximate meaning is that Gavin and the others have already completed the prototype of the cross-chain transfer bridge between Polkadot and Kusama, and ChainX and Kusama Polkadot are both based on Substrate. Now, if Kusama can be used as a secondary chain bridge to connect to Polkadot, then ChainX can also be used as a secondary chain bridge to connect to Polkadot, even bridging with Kusama. Now, Alex says, I have 2 more questions I wanted to ask, and then we're wrapping this up. So can you give us an idea of what some experimental use cases of SherpaX might look like? Now, Guango is saying the 2+1 test network that will be launched soon is a good example, and you can see it soon. A recent Chinese AMA twice a week has published issues related to SherpaX, but it's much more than that. We will build a perfect cross-chain world for SherpaX. For example, we can cross any assets on statement and .ksm to Ethereum's Uniswap, BSC Swap, and other smart contracts platforms to provide these platforms with asset liquidity on Polkadot. Similarly, we can make Bitcoin, Ethereum assets on excellent platforms such as BNB flow to the DOT chain, providing sufficient liquidity for the DeFi of the DOT ecosystem. So that's awesome. But I do think that in a way, they're going to be competing with Akala, right? Because if we're looking at Ethereum, I think they're going to be competing with Akala, right? There's no doubt about that. But with Binance Smart Chain, I think they're the only ones that have mentioned it in terms of the substrate ones. So I think that they've got a shot here. Akala have not mentioned anything about Binance Smart Chain yet, but who knows? Anything is possible, because you got to remember, unless they're going to work with Akala somehow, then we're going to see a bit of a struggle here. But again, there is room for more. I'm not saying that there isn't, right? It's just that they need to improve their marketing. Like they said, they need to stick to their word, and also they're going to need to start developing. They're going to need to push out this development as soon as possible, because remember, they will be competing with Akala. Now, Alex says, cool, so the bridge is back and forth. Okay, so the final question before you get excited again, can you elaborate on the scope of the potential partnership with the Spider Network? And which Spider Network is it actually? So Guangao says, Spider Network's partners are government affairs chains of government agencies, commercial banks, etc. Of course, including our ChainX's Parachain mini exchange, the Spider. Spider Network is to allow the chains of these partners to communicate with each other. So as per the last AMA, the Spider Network or SpiderX is something created by the PolkadotX team to have these networks communicate with each other. Now Alex says, I want to thank you very much for your time, and the community too. Thank you for tuning in. And Guango says, thank you Alex for your patience. It's okay. So yeah, this was the AMA. It was quite a long one. Apologies for this if it bored you. But very, very interesting questions here, and I really wanted to share this, especially if you have not read this and maybe you wanted to watch it in the video and kind of hear my thoughts as I'm talking about it too. But overall, yeah, I'm super hyped about ChainX. They're finally coming out now with this app, and they're going to be marketing better, I hope. But you know, I'm not gonna believe it until I see it, but it's still definitely a good step towards the right direction, because they're listening to the concerns from the community. So that's very important. And it's a very important aspect, especially now with the parachains coming to fruition, right? I mean, while the parachains were in development, or while not the parachains, but the parachain auctions were in development, like the functionality for the parachain auctions were in development, everyone was sleeping from ChainX, if you think about it, right? Alex was pretty much the only guy trying to get this information from the team, and he was probably getting frustrated. So yeah, we're finally getting this information now, and hopefully we'll have more communication, and maybe I can even bring Guangao or somebody else, or Kristen, who's working in the ChainX team as well, for an AMA, like a real live AMA on my channel, to discuss things, right, and kind of get a feel for what the team is like. So that's it from today's long video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.